Welcome to the channel, guys. My name's Danny Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. Today I'm going to be helping you with that slice, particularly with the driver. Now if you're struggling with that left to right ball flight, losing distance, missing fairways to the right, then this video is really going to help. So we'll get straight into it, and we're going to talk about firstly, what causes a slice? What factors are present to get the ball curving from left to right for a right-handed golfer? Well, you've got two main things that we're going to look at, two factors, and that is where's your club swinging, your club path in relation to the target, and where's your club face pointing in relation to the club path. So we're going to assume a pretty centered strike for these. We're going to talk about these two key factors. So let's assume here that this alignment rod represents our target line here in the studio. And for a slice, what will be present is a club path that is working from out to in. So the club will be traveling to the left across that target line. So that's the first factor that's going to contribute towards a slice. Factor number two is where is the club face aiming in relation to the club path and also the target, of course. So let's assume we've got the path swinging from out to in here. Now, if that club face is aiming right of that club path or even right of the target, that's going to cause a left to right curvature. The more to the right that club face is pointing, of course, the greater the slice. So we really need to get control of two things, two factors, and that is club path and club face. Unfortunately, there's not just one quick fix there. There's two things which takes more mental capacity, more practice to certainly then at least go and trust it out on the golf course. So in my experience in coaching for 18, 19 years now, is the club face tends to be the biggest thing and cause that actually causes a player or incentivizes a player to swing out to in. And what affects the club face the most? Well, we've got two main things. One is grip, and the second is the wrist and how we use these throughout the swing. So if we had a club face that was open at the top of the swing, so this club face pointing down in this instance, which could be caused by grip or the wrist, which we'll go through in a moment, but if that's open there, then there's no real incentive for a player to then start to swing more into out, because that's just going to send the ball starting even further towards the right and even further out towards that wad or even towards the wall here in the studio. So as athletes and as players that just want to start the ball online, instinctively what players tend to do is with this open face, they'll swing over and out in order to start the ball online. But of course, that can then add extra loft, it can create more spin and causes a whole host of other issues. So we really want to get control of this club face first, guys. So first things I would encourage you to check is, number one is grip. So if you have a grip that is considered a little bit, we might say weaker, grip's just a tool to affect the face. There's no perfect way to grip it. It's got to match up to your style and how you move in order to, for whatever ball flight you're looking to achieve. But in this instance, if you're slicing it, typically we'd see a player with a weaker lead hand where there's perhaps no knuckles showing to the eye at address. And from this view, if we come here, what we'll notice is with that grip, if I try to turn that club face as far to the left as possible with my wrist, you could see I can only get to about here. So that's not very much, doesn't give me much availability to get your club face closing, but it gives me a lot of availability to get it open in relation to the target. So if we were to look at that first and just play around with the strength or the positioning of that lead hand, if we go for a maybe two knuckles to start with there, and if I present that same grip here on the camera and now try to turn my wrist as far as I can to the left, you'll see now I can turn that much more. So if I wanted to go even stronger with my grip and put it even further over, maybe seeing three knuckles as I look down, now as I start to turn the club face, you'll see I've got even more availability. So this, guys, is how the grip can help or hinder what you're trying to do at a fast speed with the driver in terms of closing that club face. So let's explore the grip first, guys. Check that. That's one tool. Now, what would happen there if we do fix that, and that is the cause for yourself, then we might then start to get the club face closing relative to the path, but that's just going to give us a straight pull towards the left-hand side of these trees here. So yes, my club path will be going out to in, and my face will be now aiming relatively square to that club path, but that's just going to present a ball that goes straight left. So that's not ideal. But that's the first thing that we want to get, so that we can start to, incentivize then, I've got my face square or even left of my path, so I almost want to be hitting pull hooks to start with. So this is what, for somebody who's slicing it, typically what I'll get them to do is, rather than fix the club path first, I would start, obviously check alignment, guys, check alignment, because if we're, setting up a long way left, that's typically to allow for the fade, so we'll look at that in a moment. But let's just assume that all we've fixed here is the club face via grip, and now we'll start to get that out in path, but with a club face that's square to the path, and so, or even close to the path. So you see that straight left shot there. But that's what we want to get first, and then we start to work on, now we've got incentive to actually get the club to start to work more in to out now. So typically for a slicer, I would start to give a player, if you think of a scale, this being a straight shot and this being a big hook and this being a big slice, the slicers out there, we need to give you guys some hook ingredients. So one is of course the grip, and what else affects the club face? Well, we've got the wrists. So before we go on to the path, we're going to look at the wrists as well. So if I was going to, you can see here I've got the help of Hack Motion wrist sensor. So this tells us what my wrists are doing in real time. You'll see here on the screen. So typically you've got extension and flexion. You've got cupping and bowing of that lead wrist. And this has a huge influence on the club face, guys, huge influence. So from here, you'll see again, if I was just to, with a sound grip there, bow that lead wrist, you'll see that'll close the club face, and it also de-lofts the angle of the face as well. And now if I was to do the opposite and extend my lead wrist, you'll see it actually opens the club face and adds loft. So this is a huge tool for managing the club face. So for players that slice it, let's look at your club face position, guys, particularly at the top of the swing, particularly at the top. So I'll show you here just with Hack Motion. So we'll get our position at the top, and we'll be typically having the wrist more cupped here with the logo of my gloves closer to my forearm. You see the toe of the golf clubs pointing more down to the ground. And if we continue in that fashion, it's going to open the face and give us a high shot to the right. So we'll go here, really get it cupped. And you'll see there on Hack Motion, my wrist was heavily extended there at the top of the swing and also at impact. So that's a big high right shot. Still at 95 miles an hour, carried, it's only got 163 meters total, lots of spin, lots of loft, lots of launch, 65 meters to the right, not what we're looking for there. So if I was to change nothing else on this next shot other than my wrists, you'll see how that's going to affect the club face. I'm not going to change the path here, I'm just going to change with a good grip still. I'm going to change just the wrist at the top. So you'll see now, instead of having it cupped, I'm going to start to flex that lead wrist. And an analogy I like is, think of a motorbike with your left hand. If you're going to rev a motorbike, instead of revving it this way, rev it the opposite way. So turn that lead wrist down as you get to the top and in the downswing, in the start of the downswing. So from here, you see I've got my wrist more flexed, more bowed, the logo of the glove pointing more to the sky. And as I turn down, I'm turning that logo of my glove towards you guys here on the camera. And you can see the effect that's having on my club face. Now, if I hit that same shot with a more flexed wrist position on the top, you'll see the numbers change on Hack Motion, and you see this ball go a long way left. So here we go. And you see there, on both of those, I was too flexed on the top, I was too flexed at impact, and so I've gone to that other extreme. But you'll note that the spin rate comes down dramatically, the club face is very much closed to the path. Without me even realizing, it's actually helped me get my path a little bit more neutral there as well. And so guys, you know, that's huge, and how much or how little you do that will really affect your club face. So we'll explore that as we go through as well. So let's say you've checked your grip, you've checked your wrist, you're happy with that, your club faces, you're getting a better understanding of how that's affecting things at impact. Now we've got to start looking at your club path. So my favorite drill for this, tried and tested over many, many years, is a simple 430 path drill. What I mean by that? Well, we've got, imagine a clock face around me here. This will be 12 o'clock on the clock face, this will be 3 o'clock, and all I do is get a golf club or an alignment rod and pop it on what would be 430 on that clock face. Now, I like this because, you know, a lot of people have access to a club or a rod, and it's just a great go-to drill to get your club path working more into out. So what we're doing now is trying to combine the two things. Let's again just mention body alignments too. Now that you're, you know, trying to work more swinging it into out rather than out to in, we need our body alignment to match what we're trying to do. So obviously before, we're going to aim left to allow for that left to right curvature, the open face out in path. But now we actually want to align our feet. For this, again, to exaggerate, I love to go the other extreme. If you're slicing it, guys, you want to get hooking that golf ball. You want to know what it's like to swing it the complete opposite way, and then you can play around with coming back into the middle. So I'd like to see you guys aiming your feet a little bit more to the right, maybe getting your trail foot back. I have to do this a little bit myself, not only if I want to draw ball flight, but because I've got some hip restrictions and limitations, this allows me to swing into out a little bit more easier. So another little side tip for you there, guys, if you're struggling a bit with mobility like I am. So with this 430 path drill, we're going to first understand that we need a good grip, 2, good alignments with the body, and then at the top of the swing, now we've got our good wrist positions. We understand how this affects your club face. We understand how we close it more coming down. But the real thing now is, now you've got incentive to swing more into out. So we're going to encourage you to visualize in transition in the early part of the downswing, your club path, your driver shaft, matching up with that stick on the ground you can see here. Now from there, as you turn through, the club's always going to come back out as you rotate, and it's going to come now more from the inside out. You're going to start to impart right to left spin on the ball. Start the ball out towards these trees, towards the water on the right. So I'd start small when I'm practicing this with a player. So we'll swing to the top, get some feels, maybe 1 or 2 pumps, 1, 2, 3, and then swing out to the right. And so what you'll see there at the top of the swing, my wrists were good. And you see my club path now 15 degrees into out. Club face close to the path. I've swung that over 10 mile an hour slower than some of those slice shots I hit earlier. Yeah, that's gone out to 200 meters. Guys, it's massive. If you're struggling with the slice, stop trying to hit it harder. The harder you hit it, the more spin it's going to create. Get your club face in order, get your path appropriate to what you're trying to do, and then assuming a centered strike at a slower speed, you'll hit it further. So again, that 430 path, I've got my feet aligned a little bit more to the right. I've got a good grip. I've got my wrists are good at the top. And on this one, I'm going to hook it even more by turning my wrist down, even at impact with that 430 path. Here we go. So you see that was 2 flexed at the top, 2 flexed at impact. You'll see a big swinging hook there. So I'm really exaggerating these feels, guys, for you. Really exaggerating. Of course, that's too far, but would love you to see some of those exaggerations there. So, and then when you come into, you know, your normal shots, obviously you're not trying to do that quite as much. But the key thing here, I would say, for most players, are utilizing something like Hack Motion rather than going out and buying a brand new driver which costs upwards of $500. grab yourself a bit of kit like this. It can really help. You know, much better investment than the new driver if slicing and wrists are an issue for you. So that'll really help you understand, you know, where you need to be coming down at impact. Are you too extended? And it's just a wonderful tool to train with. So again, we'll hit one here. You see there, both numbers were nicely in range, and there I was trying to play a nice solid draw. Yeah, just crank the speed up a little bit there, just feeling a bit loose. But you can see that's a nice solid draw, 4 degrees into out with the path, the face closed relative to that, total of 280 yards, just swinging nice and smooth out. A bit faster than what I wanted there, guys, just to show you the example. But you can see, you know, spin rates down, the loft's reduced. I'm not opening the face, increasing the loft. Good numbers here with my wrist. Just a wonderful tool. So, yeah, guys, that'll be my go-to there if you're slicing. Just to recap, number one, check your grip, well, check your club face first, and that's going to be either grip or wrist related. You've got a wonderful drill there for the wrist with a motorcycle drill, just to help you get the feeling. Of course, hack motion is another wonderful tool. And also you've got your club path, guys. Be mindful of you know, where is your club path. First I check your face, then your club path. You've got the 430 path drill there. And of course your body alignments being the third thing. If you've been a slicer for a lot of years, you're going to be aiming a lot to the left of the right-handed player. Now you're going to have to get used to aiming to the right, because if we want to stop it going right, guys, we've got to swing it right. So let's set up to support where we're trying to swing. So guys, there's my top tips to help reducing the slice. I hope it helps. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.